On April 5th, just days after the third provincial lockdown began, local business owners now face yet more restrictions on their already struggling shops and services, and as a community are saying they've had enough.
We've put together an idea just to show solidarity within the small businesses here in Milton that have been struggling for the last 13 months, trying to just show our government that everything that you've asked us to do, we've done, and we just keep getting cut at the knees. And it's time for us to actually stand up for ourselves when we see what's happening around our province, restaurants being closed, yet malls and so many other businesses moving forward. This isn't about money, this is about livelihood. And that's what we want to try to show our people, is that our community has been together, we've been diligent, we've been strong, we've done everything we've been told to do, yet we keep falling. And we keep falling based on what our leadership is giving us. And that's just not fair anymore. We're done with it. Our program today is all about being enough is enough. Either shut it down or let us run your protocols the way we've been doing since day one, all the reinvestments in our restaurants and our small businesses to follow your protocols to continuously be shut down. Enough's enough. We need to move on. We have lives. We have employees that have lives. We have people that depend on us, that need us, that you keep pushing them away from us. And I'm tired of it. I just want to make a point to say, we're good. Let's just either lock it down or let's move forward.
It's created a lot of anxiety and it's created a lot of stress that is kind of unnecessary, considering that we take every precaution necessary to keep our facilities safe and keep our members safe. We've had to lay off staff. We hustle when we can open, and we hustle to try to make things good and set up our facility right, and then a week later we get shut down. It's just caused really a lot of undue stress on our lives.
I mean, without knowing what's going on, there's no long-term planning in effect, and literally things are changed from day to day. And one day we're at 10 people we're allowed, the next week we're at 50, and then a week later we're back down to 0. So hiring people is impossible. We have 3 new hires that literally in a week we're now laying off, and it's not fair to them, and it's just not the right way to do it. So
restaurants are fine with the rules and regulations that are going on. It's the yo-yo effects that are happening. It's impossible to plan for one day you can do 50% or 50 people, and then literally 12 days later we went from 2-0 to takeout only.
You're spending a lot of money making all these changes, right? To adapt and to make people feel safe. We're buying barriers, we're buying screens, we're buying and registering for new apps that we can do customer tracing, new patio furniture because we're outside, and then just like that, it's over. All that money, you don't get it back. Now you're stuck with an empty patio when it's fairly logical that being outside would be pretty safe to eat. So it's tough. It's tough.
In a peaceful protest, the small business owners of the town of Milton organized a march on Main Street, temporarily disrupting local traffic to bring awareness to how the current restrictions disproportionately harm small, locally run shops and services versus that of the big box or franchised stores.
We try to stand up for each other, but at the same time, we're sitting around here thinking, well, how much food do I order this week? Are we going to be able to sell it? If we don't sell it, what happens? We end up dumping it in the garbage. Who pays for that loss? This is a small business. This isn't a corporate chain. This isn't a corporate company here. This is people that have invested their lives. And I look at the mom and pop places in town that have been in business for 25, 30 years that are now dipping into their own reserves, money they may have saved for their families, their grandkids, that they're dipping into because they don't have enough to survive.
I just feel like we need to put ourselves out there. We've been quiet for long enough. We've just sat back, we've let it happen, and you know what? No more. We can't do this anymore. We have to feed our families. We have to pay our rent. We need to get out there and start making some noise, because this is enough. We've had enough. We're done. It's just, yeah.
And I would say for small businesses, more so than big businesses like myself, I put in 16 years of hard work to remain successful in my small business and make sure that I can feed my family every year, and now we're going into our second year of this. So when does it stop? It only stops when we decide to say no, and we're saying no.
We invest quite a bit in the community. A lot of people actually tell us that they depend on us for their health and well-being. We are a gym and first and foremost a martial arts facility, but we really support the town of Milton. Now, you go along to all these different places, these big box stores, you have your Costco's, your Walmart's, there's no tracing, there's no separation in there, there's no control in there. And meanwhile, we're abiding by all rules and regulations. You come in and the place is spotless clean, and we're doing our part. And yet we're the ones to blame. We're the ones that are getting the blame, and we're the ones that are getting locked down again.
It's ridiculous to walk into, the premium outlet malls. Go down to Yorkdale, you see these places full. Nobody does contact tracing. Nobody does any sort of temperature checks. Nobody has any sort of social distancing in these places. Nobody's policing these places, and yet here we are doing everything that you're telling us to do. First and foremost, speaking from the restaurant industry, we're already number one when it comes to health and safety. We have to be. So whatever you're implementing from 13 months ago forward, you're adding more to us to ensure safety. My number one priority is my staff. My second priority is the guest. If my guests and my staff are looked after and they feel comfortable, who are you to tell us that we're not able to open? We're doing everything you're telling us to do. The investments into the restaurant to succeed, we've done. And yet it's not good enough for you, but I can go into an outlet mall with 2,000 people? Come on. Ridiculous. I'm not angry. I'm just frustrated. I'm tired. Enough is enough. That's all I can say. Enough is enough.
So yeah, the cleaning protocols that we have in place are really stringent. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars on PPE, touchless soap dispensers, touchless disinfectant dispensers, electrostatic misters to fog and disinfect the room between classes. We don't open up our doors till 10 minutes before a class. We stringently walk everybody that's spaced out at their mats with their masks. I wear my mask as I teach. We've been closed now. This will be the third time, and it's been a hard year. We've been forced to take loans to survive. It's not as easy as the government says it is to get those loans, and we're really. I'm a really positive guy, and I'm still super positive. I know that COVID's out there and people are suffering because I've had friends suffering, but we have to come to some kind of balance when it comes to, businesses, open, independent businesses, and I'm just looking for a fair shake.
Small business makes up the lifeblood of any community, both through supporting each other as business owners, but also community groups, volunteer work, and strengthening local culture.
Milton thrives on small business and supporting small business, and in return, our small businesses are always trying to help the community, and in any way we can, doing charities, doing functions to raise money, trying to put on new hospice here in town, so we're doing a bunch of charity stuff, and the town is amazing in reciprocating that to us. But if we're just closed, they really can't help us kind of get back on our feet after this, right? So it's tough that way.
Well, as a small business, the key answer there is small. We've kept it very kosher within the town itself. As it grew, we grew with it, and we've supported everybody else. Everyone in this crowd that you see, we all know each other. We've gone to each other's businesses. It's not that we evade any corporate business, but at the same time, we want to keep the town growing the way it is. It's grown in the fastest in the country, and the country itself has slowed us down, and that's the biggest struggle of it all.
Reporting for Halton News from Main Street in Milton, I'm Chris Cox.